I feel like this collusion story and everything going on with the NFLPA of late has really kind of been it's been a weird way to sort of kick off training camp week.
I don't know that you want to go into training camps with your Players Association in complete disarray the way it is in the NFLPA. And also, too, no Players Association seems to cave faster than the NFLPA. I mean, every time the league wants something, the PA says, yeah, sure, well, whatever, you know. You want us to play? Yeah, sure, no problem. Oh, now you want us to play anything? No problem. Like, it really is a massive sloppy mess. And JC Tretter, who has found himself right in the center of all of this, not only as a former Browns player, not only as a former player rep, not only as a former president of the NFLPA, but the fact that the collusion story involves or began with post Browns signing Deshaun Watson to that fully guaranteed contract.
Which, by the way, who would have what a turn of events if you mentioned it, Daryl. The NFLPA is notoriously one of the weakest when it comes to actually representing the players and getting the things that the players want done in these negotiations, right? What a turn of events if Deshaun Watson, of all people, is the thing that sparks change with it, because that's where it all started. Like you said, it was the Deshaun Watson contract, the fully guaranteed contract, that then triggered and exposed the NFL for these. They won't call it collusion, but they'd call it their executive committee that meets and advises the owners on things that they should or shouldn't do, and apparently told them, hey, don't give out fully guaranteed contracts like this ever again.
Well,
and if that then leads to the demise of the Lloyd House situation and how that kind of got uncovered. And now JC Tretter's out of there, even though it sounds like he had player support to still maybe become the next president of the organization or the head of the organization.
He had some current player support, but he certainly didn't have former player support.
I saw a lot of tweets. Yes.
You know, guys like Ben Watson, also another former Cleveland Brown, was like, hey, JC's got to go. Look, what keeps the NFL competitive is the non-guaranteed contracts. Because if you sign a guy to a big deal in free agency, you can get out of it and you can move on. Major League Baseball, you can't. NBA,
it's fully guaranteed. Right.
You can't, right? So a mechanism that helps keep parity within the sport, well, everywhere except for here in Cleveland, because the Browns just can't get their you-know-what together. That mechanism is actually detrimental to the players in a sport that requires more physical sacrifice from its players than any other sport, okay? I mean, just look at the condition of former NFL players. It's jarring when you see, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, but it's jarring when you see guys that you used to watch 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago today and how they're struggling to walk, talk, move their extremities, lift things, the pain that they're in, the medications that they're forced to take so that they can just live semi everyday normal lives. And those guys aren't making the type of money that today's NFL player is. And the fact that, I don't want to say it. The NFL is a dirty business. Let's be honest about it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of unspoken truths. There's a lot of unspoken rules. The fact that nobody really stepped up when Lamar Jackson was a restricted free agent, that guy was worth the 2 first-round picks if you tried to sign him and you put a poison pill in the deal, and if the Ravens didn't match, you had to send your first-round picks over, right? That dude was worth it. And nobody in the NFL was sniffing around. How can you not ask questions about that? You have a perennial MVP candidate whom your franchise could poach from Baltimore, and no one really sniffed around it. And then after that, Spencer, nobody decided, no one really asked why. Nobody really dug into that until now with, Pablo Torres and what he's been able to unearth and put out on his show, his podcast, right? The information he's been able to uncover. And then we've seen Mike Florio kind of, jump on it a little bit and get involved with some of the reporting. But the fact that nobody, after, the Deshaun Watson contract and Lamar was a restricted free agent, nobody in the NFL was like, yeah, we need a franchise quarterback. Let's go get Lamar. And who cares I forget if it's 2 or 3 first-round picks, but who cares? Get the Ravens our first-round picks. We get him. We put a poison pill in the contract so the Ravens can't match the contract to keep him. And nobody asked any questions about it. Everyone's just business as usual.
Yeah, I thought it was weird, too, that, and even us in the media are probably somewhat guilty of this because, some of us, I'm not saying us here in Cleveland necessarily, but some of us did try to sort of perpetuate this narrative that was out there where it was like, well, these owners keep saying, oh, well, if you take Lamar Jackson, you got to change your entire offense for him. And it's like, I think you'd sign up for that if it meant you have an MVP caliber player who can get you to the playoffs. I know he hasn't had the success in the postseason yet, but everyone thinks at some point he's probably going to cash in and he'll get there because he's great. He's a great player. Who would not sign up for an MVP caliber player like that? The Browns are going to have to wear the Deshaun Watson thing. But we know going back to that situation, there was at least a third of the league that at least when that whole thing started, that was interested in Deshaun Watson.
Atlanta, New Orleans were right at the forefront. I think Carolina was in
till the very end because obviously his ties to Carolina. There was a handful. There was at least a third of the league that when that whole process started, that was at least interested. And then he helped whittle the list down. The Texans whittled the list down because they were like, we're not going to trade him to certain places. And then it became that he ended up in the Browns because he got the fully guaranteed contract.
Because he originally told the Browns thanks, but no thanks. That's what keeps getting forgotten here. He originally told the Browns no.
Right.
Okay? And listen, when they tell you no, take them at their word.
That's your advice.
Yes.
That's your advice.
That is my advice in life. Yeah. And that is my advice in sports. When they tell you no, take them at their word.
We've gotten in the weeds on the Deshaun part of this now, but like I said, to relate it back to Lamar, it was weird.
But if you're the union, why did you not get involved in that situation as the union when Lamar is available? Granted, yes, restricted free agent and compensate, draft pick compensation would have to go to, but how nobody in the league went after Lamar, and then the union just sat back and was like, everything's fine. This is normal.
Yeah.
How did you not investigate
and
that?
As the Pablo Torre investigating found out, this is something that the union would have wanted out there. That there was a form of collusion going on.
You had a podcaster do more investigation than the players union.
Yeah, that's bad.
And that's no disrespect to Pablo Torre.
And now we know, and part of the reason why JC Tretter was caught up in the crosshairs of all this was because of the comments he made after the fact about Russell Wilson and other players who weren't getting fully guaranteed contracts after Deshaun. And that's the problem. And now he's out, and the links to the Browns in this whole situation continue. And I do just kind of find it ironic that the worst trade in NFL history that the Browns made might actually end up being the agent for change to make the NFLPA maybe look in the mirror and change some things and become a more respected organization among the players.